guy representing me. I want that guy representing me. I don't want that guy representing us, though.
And
he doesn't.
And again, from where I'm role playing tonight, there is nothing wrong with that. That's all on you. That's all on Mr. Hippie Man.
Yeah, I have to make better stuff. I guess I got to make stuff that's full of sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah,
I have to.
I personally am incredibly uncomfortable with it, but I'm role playing this
Sure.
to the best of my ability.
Sure.
I think this is part of the glory of having a free market, is that at least in a free market, if we genuinely see something that is, for lack of a better term, concerning about a particular platform or outlet, we can go, okay, well, I'll just make another outlet.
True.
Now, that's a very, very daunting task.
Very daunting task. You've got to, well, because in effect, the individual who creates the competitive entity can't advertise it on the competitor's material.
Well, you can start that way.
You can cross-pollinate. You can say, hey, I'm making Gab.
Yeah.
You can tell people on Twitter, hey, I'm making Gab. You can say anything you want. Also on Gab, you can get endless invites from bots. That's embarrassing.
Well, we've got to make it look like people are actually here, so that way the people who come here actually want to be here.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, okay. That's embarrassing.
100%.
That's embarrassing. It's shameful.
Sure. But I mean, it's also building a core base of users.
I wonder if it's just 90% of people that don't realize that those are all fake and deliberately fake to convince you that he's aha, I'm the Wizard of Oz. I'm really big. Yeah, don't worry. These are real people talking to you, inviting you to look at your stuff.
Right.
I mean, the way it's phrased and the way it's designed probably makes a bunch of convincing ass line graphs. And you know what corporate meetings consist of? It's a bunch of line graphs that make people go, oh, look at that growth. I'm convinced. Sure. Which I'm probably looking at way too quickly and way too simply, but I feel like if I can convince a bunch of investors and advertising companies to just see a bunch of graphs and sort of buy into it, and then as a result, I do get a bunch of legitimate growth. It's like, hey, it's fine, it's cool.
Yeah.
I lied to you, but you got what you wanted.
Well, that's part of the trick, right? Is whether or not it's actually a lie, because
Sure.
it'll play out pretty quickly in today's social media world. I mean, how long did it take for Gerald R. Ford to go from his first plant until not even market saturation, but just until market popularity?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Like he had hit every customer that would ever buy it, basically.
No. But I'm just thinking, like, from the time let's find out when Gerald R. Ford just from the Industrial Revolution, right? We're just talking 100 years.
Okay.
Gerald Ford. I'm looking this up really quick.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake of the discussion, here's the example. No, not that Gerald Ford. Who am I thinking of? Doggone it.
You're thinking of Ford Motors.
Yeah.
But just say that.
Henry Ford, not Gerald Ford. Yeah, when Gerald Ford was president and he started Ford Motors.
I wasn't
Made
going
a
to
bunch of cars.
I've just been quietly biding my time.
There we go.
Yes.
You should send me a PM and smack me upside the head. Henry
Yeah,
Ford,
for that.
thank you.
Carry on.
And
Good
I
work.
used to teach Michigan history. I'm ashamed of myself. Okay, so the Model T was first introduced in 1908.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ford created In 1913, Ford introduced the moving assembly belts into his plants. Okay, that's 1913.
Yeah.
By the 1920s, and a majority of American drivers had learned to drive on the Model T.
Majority.
Now that's not that's not a huge survey, but here are some numbers. By 1918, half of all cars in America were Model Ts.
Mm.
The design was fervently promoted, defended, and production continues as late until 1927. The final production was 15,007,000 Model Ts.
Christ.
This record was achieved. This record stood for the next 45 years. Okay, as
Get out of my
top-selling
house.
Vehicle.
Wow.
For 19 years. Or sorry, 45 years. This record was achieved within 19 years from the introduction of the first model. Now, I'm just using this as an example. It took someone else 45 years to break a record of a particular model that was sold at one point in time in American history.
Yeah.
Of what was a revolutionary, evolutionary, societal changing thing.
Yeah.
A car, and a particular car as sold by a particular company.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is going through the same sorts of things, right? The digital revolution was that's what we used to call it, right? 15 years ago. Nowadays it's millennials and startups and all sorts of other buzzwords. But just as the Industrial Revolution did something for society and did something to society, so too the digital one is also doing something for society and to society.
Yeah.
So if we say it took 45 years for this car to really hit market saturation until something else took over as the number one selling car.
Yeah.
Do we think Facebook is going to have that kind of longevity? Because again, remember what I've already quoted. Worldwide, Facebook has already been passed by other social media in China.
Right.
Like it's already been beaten.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around for a little over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And there's already stuff that's more popular than it. And it's already had quarters, not just single quarters, but several quarters where they've shown net loss in their users.
I'm so excited.
So
It
from...
makes me very happy.
Right on. So from a business perspective, like just seeing something else that's that popular, that does that well,
Mm-hmm.
we see transitional stuff happen during massive societal changes, and yet it's really, really tough for stuff to last a long, 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 long time.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be encouraging to you in your position, because even if Big Bad Evil Corp says, nope, you can't be here, you can't be on this platform, well, chances are the platform's not really that big a deal in the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme.
Like, go find another platform, because chances are the platform that you currently wanted to be on, that you're getting blocked on, there's other viewers.
Sure.
That are going to take that over. Now, whether or not it'll be profitable, again, like you said, it hurts when you start hitting people in the pocketbook.
Yeah. I would say it hurts a lot. This is the one that comes to mind most noteworthy, because anytime that I've gotten close to actually finalizing and cutting and editing some content and putting it up for mass consumption, just to have like, hey, my shop's open, I got a thing that your eyes can feast on, is that I see content creators who've got 60 videos that probably took a total of 10 or more hours to make each one.
Yeah.
And they're all on YouTube. And they might be somewhere else, I don't know. But they're all on YouTube. And I suspect, and I worry for the ones that uploaded their content onto YouTube, and they didn't keep the original.
Oh, yeah.
I worry for anyone who did that, because I can see a lot of humans, relying on YouTube to have their back. It's a bit frivolous, really, but I can see the child-parent relationship there. I can see a very strong link of, hey, do your homework, put your homework up for display, and then I'll give you allowance.
Yeah.
Right? Do your schoolwork, get good grades, get good likes, and then you can have your soup or whatever.
Yeah.
It becomes a parent-child like system, sort of.
Sure. I think that's a good analogy.
It is a good analogy. If you behave yourself, go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
If you behave yourself, you'll get praised. But if you misbehave, you will get no Christmas or, no livelihood. Get out of my home. I don't want to see you again. You're cut off, child. And for the child that has put their faith and trust and commitment to their foster parent YouTube, well, it all comes down to naivety at that point. I mean, a lot of these kids are putting trust in something that behaves, looks, smells, and acts like a parent, but isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's where the analogy breaks down.
Yeah.
But beyond the analogy breaking down, I would say as a parent, there is a relationship aspect that goes beyond the social contract for parent-child relationships.
Oh, sure.
And that's different depending on, across the board, depending on what culture you're in. But nonetheless, there is a relationship there that is almost always different from business relationships. No matter how familial business relationships are in a culture, they still do not match the intensity, the demands, as well as the expectations of a parent and a child's relationship, for better or for worse. Right?
Yeah,
that's not better or worse in and of itself. It's just for better or for worse. With a company, for video content producers, and this is why I'm refusing to fight almost on any other grounds, or constantly I'm coming back to it. It's all about the terms of service. Like, the terms of service for the parent-child relationship is, hey, you came out of us, so we actually kind of owe you.
Yeah.
Even though you owe us a lot.
Yeah.
Literally, you owe us everything, but we kind of owe you too. And so we're going to be in all this stuff together as much as we can be, to the best of our ability, and that means sometimes people walk away from their kids.
Yeah.
Leave them on the doorstep of somebody else's, or
all kinds of outcomes there.
all kinds of outcomes, right?
But the terms of service one says, hey, if you come in my house, you said you'd agree to these rules. You don't like the house here right now? Come over to my house. But I have control over your income.
Yep.
Simple. Very simple.
And this.
But it's disregard of that. The parent relationship thing probably breaks down here, but it also becomes a very rude awakening to millennial corporate relationship. I guess you want to call it that, because a lot of our upbringing, I suspect, I just had this realization, is that every time I sign into Xbox Live or play with my toys, I get to sign an NDA, or I get to sign a TOU. Thank you. TOU. Sometimes back to back.
Yeah.
But the way that the content has been injected, the way that the virus has been dispersed into the culture, is that it starts out with, man, I don't want to read this shit. I want to play with my toys. I don't want to read this shit. I want to play with my toys. The next step above that is, man, I know that something in here is going to fuck me, but I got to get on with this. Right? That's the next step above that. It's something in here is going to fuck me, and I'm agreeing to it fucking me right now by signing this. But it's probably not that bad. It's a rental contract. It's probably fine. I've read these before. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I've got shit to do. I got content to create, for fuck's sake.
Right.
You don't create content when you're reading a TOU.
Yeah.
Anytime you read that TOU, you're not making content.
And right, I think that's fair, but you can't say, the company's offering me the house, they're going to control my income, but hey, at least I get to go into the house, right?
Yeah.
But when you go into the house, then there's a man with a clown mask on, and he says, "Do you want to play a game?" Right? Like, you're like, "Oh no, what did I do?
What have I done?"
Right?
Sure.
On the one hand, you have voluntarily walked into the scenario. On the other hand, you go, "Yeah, but I didn't know that was the scenario."
Right. Well, in which case you go, "Oh, right, I did sign this thing where I didn't read it, but my signature says that I read and agreed to all of it."
Yeah, but I said I'd legally said, yeah, I did that. I
Yeah.
did that. Even though I didn't.
Even though I didn't, I agreed to the consequence of
Yeah.
this agreement.
You signed
Right.
the thing that said you wanted to play a game, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So you obviously do. If I go to court and sue you for $1 billion, you don't have $1 billion to fight with, so you just lose automatically. And two, every court will say, "Yeah, dude, you agreed to it. Why didn't you read it?
so
You wouldn't be in this position if you didn't do that."
I think some of the protection that has to come in,
You know,
and I hope my client, Big Corp and Company, isn't listening. Otherwise, they may garnish my wages. But I think some of the ground that you've got to fight on is the nature of this relationship and whether or not it is simply as clear cut as you signed the TOS, and therefore no other laws apply. You're a simple user. And I think some of the most successful arguments against corporate censorship, as well as corporate activities being taken on intellectual property, have been arguments that get made around the concept that these people are much more of an employee or an independent contractor, which is why we've seen so many different laws shift over the last decade regarding IP law and regarding independent contractor status versus being considered an employee. I have been an employee for exactly one company, but I have always had at least 2 jobs throughout my entire working adult life.
jeez,
Like, always. And yet I've only technically been an employee at one place.
right?
And everywhere else I've been an independent contractor. And we've seen a lot of it's for tax purposes, others for liability. Like, there's simply right now not an advantage from the company's perspective a lot of the time. Some companies it's different, right, depending on the trade that you enter into. This is not me complaining. This is simply saying this is why Big Corp does what Big Corp does.
Right.
Because it's better for Big Corp.
Mm-hmm.
And Big Corp may only be 40 people. Big Corp
Sure.
may only be one person running their LLC. But it's simply better to say, yep, this is the one employee that we've got, and this is the status that they're in.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'll cost the company more.
Can't have that. Especially when you multiply it by the number of times you get money
Right.
because of their work.
Right. And so, like you said, if you're in that scenario where you're putting up 3 times a week 10-minute videos that are profitable and that are garnering attention and attraction, and it's making Big Corp platform moolah, and it's making you moolah, like, what's the deal? Like, if they pull your stuff, if they censor your stuff, that's where you've got a case to go, now wait a minute, our relationship is a little bit more than just the average relationship of your average user.
Sure.
There's some other things going on here. You might say we're friends, but now we're friends with benefits. Like, there's some other things going on here.
You might do me the courtesy of telling me what about every inch of my content that's not fitting your standards that I can correct. But then you'd be admitting to being bad. Is that right?
Yeah, I think here's 2 reasons why I don't tell you why your content is bad for our platform. One, it sets a precedent that means I have to stay consistent to that.
Sure does.
And
So if you just remain nebulous about it,
yeah, there's something that I tell my staffers to be sufficiently vague. So you need to be specific in the ways that you need to be specific, but in the ways that you can be vague, you want to be sufficiently vague. Like, if a deadline is Tuesday, then it's Tuesday.
yeah.
But if a deadline is, well, we're not sure yet, make sure you communicate, we're not sure yet.
Yeah.
Because if you're insufficiently vague and you tell a client, on either side, you tell a client, oh, well, we'll get that to you. Well, when are you going to get that to me? Well, we'll get that to you. Okay, next week, next month, next year. Well, we'll get that to you.
Well,
Right, that's
this
too
is-
far. And then if you're too strict, if you're, again, not sufficiently vague, but on the other side, then you go, we'll get that to you Tuesday, and it's not done on Tuesday, well, then you're screwed the other way.
That's true. In this sort of setting a precedent, setting a standard, like you can't do this with your video because it violates, label.
Yeah.
Well, say, take that label off, you're good. No. The reason you can't do that is because this works even better for you, right? This means that if a video is demonetized and we don't say why, because we can't. It's so bad we can't say how bad it is. That's how bad you need to think about the content creator and about the content that he or she creates. It's so bad we can't tell you. You just become he who must not be named. Can't say your name either.
Yeah.
Demonized.
So again, I think Big Corp, and I can think of some of the videos that you've sent me over the years, which I've been thankful that you've actually sent them to me.
Oh, thank you.
Because they've been very educational, and I otherwise would not have seen it unless I had a direct link to it.
Correct. Organic discovery.
Right. At the same time, as a representative of Big Corp, it's not my fault, and it's not my client, Big Corp's fault, that other people may, quote unquote, to use your verbiage, demonize said content creator. That was not our intent. That is not our goal. Our intent and our goal is to make sure that our wonderful Big Corp streaming platform is profitable and beneficial for all of our stakeholders and shareholders. And that includes our content creators. And so we didn't want what Mr. Deadbody123 posted to harm the hundreds of other people who also depend on our site and use our site for their daily and weekly bump in income. And what Mr. Deadbody123 posted was a jeopardizing piece of content, not just for us, but for all of those other people as well. The demonizing of Mr. Deadbody123 is a unfortunate reality that we're actually taking steps to help fight, and we're going to pay for his his counseling because we care about Mr. Deadbody123. You know, or whatever. I think at that point, then we're starting to set a bad precedent. But we've seen companies go out of their way, right? For instance, Riot did this with what's his name? Oh, he always wore his scarf. Ocelot, right? Yeah. Riot went out of their way to say, here is a dude that is toxic. He plays, and he at the time when he was playing, he had one of the biggest streaming contracts in Twitch's history. It still stands as a top 10 contract, I believe, and they said, look, we're actually going to make a video about this guy and his counseling and his problems and his rage and his toxicity, and we're going to make him the figurehead of what it looks like to reform as an individual and to still play our game. And so we're actually going to turn potential bad marketing and bad PR into good PR. We're actually going to commit ourselves to doing the opposite. Now, that doesn't mean that Riot set a precedent that every single person that curses somebody out and tells them to go kill themselves is going to receive subsidized counseling from Riot.
Of course not. They needed a poster child.
Yeah.
And they got one. I mean, that's a very smart bit of marketing.
It is. And so I think there is like this
it can be done. If I could do it here, it could be done again. It could be done again.
Yep, it could be done again. So I think that precedence is one reason why they won't say it. Specifically what you could do to improve your video. And then again, I hate to say it as Big Corp, but I am the representative of Big Corp, and a small company wouldn't say this, but Big Corp can say this. Look, you are so minuscule in the grand scheme of things. What terrified us was the possibility of what you did becoming as viral as anything on our site. And so that's why we had to censor it. That's why we had to take it down. The reason why we're not going to tell you why we had to censor it is simply because you're not that big a deal. And so by taking you off the site, we actually don't lose any money. And so we're losing time and money by talking to you and having this relationship right now.
So without further ado, click.
Yep. End of call.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what is the benefit of having that conversation? Like, is the content creator going to come back and say, "I'm so sorry, let me redo this and make you guys more money"?
I mean, well, even if he did, if she or she did, what? Okay, great, good job. You're still not worth anything.
And even if you are worth something, right? Again, content creation platform, Big Corporation Incorporated, is not actually interested in content for the sake of the content.
No,
we don't have
that's the disparity.
Like, we don't have writers and storytellers and creative types.
We don't care if it's funny. We don't care if you think it's good for humanity.
Well, and even if it is, that's fantastic. But we don't have people to evaluate that. Like, we don't have like, what we have is people who are evaluated are people who have been hired to tell us whether or not these things that have been evaluated are going to be worthy and desirous in the eyes of marketing companies and,
Right.
and individual companies selling their products.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have. That's what we have on staff. So if it's some ginormous social crime that we censor Dead Body 1, 2, 3, we internally, among the people that we pay and evaluate their and value their evaluation and their opinions, we don't have people on staff who are going to have input that we value that say, "Yep, this is a big deal."
Right. Right. Because that would be another $100,000 paycheck per year you gotta write.
Yeah, and the reality is that just the opposite is the case. We don't have those people to say, "Yep, this is really tragic that we're not sharing it." We actually have people that say, "Nope, here's a bunch of really good reasons why we shouldn't share that."
Sure.
It's because it's hurting our bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other disparity that comes to mind is that a person who is making several zeros on their payroll per hour more than the content creator is we're talking economies of scale disparity here. YouTube makes bank, and it's because they've got a pile of asses churning out stuff. They're just a factory of stuff, right? And you can cut your losses. You can cut your losses and look at it purely in terms of cost versus profit, of net value.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? It's up to me as someone who can create, who can claim that what I create needs to be seen.
Yep.
And to find someone who can find a way to turn a profit on what I think and what I'm making. And if you can find that, well, cool. But if you can't, like, you're gonna hurt my bottom line. You can't be here.
Yep. And again, content corporation, big corp, incorporated platform are us. We're very sorry that your content is not content that our users want to see and interact with. We're so sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's like the stick it to the little guy.
Oh, sure.
Like, not only is your stuff not profitable, but if we post
not only
it,
have we
it'll be
created
bad.
an environment where you are shunned, and we've reinforced an environment where your message is not appreciated.
Yeah.
Or profitable anymore. It used to be, but it's not now. Look, a bunch of people said they were offended, and that was a louder, more obnoxious expense than you were making.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can't stick by you.
We just can't stick by you, and we're so sorry. Again, all of that takes time, and it sets precedent, and it develops a relationship with someone that's not making you that much money in the grand scheme of things. So people who have the power to make massive social policy changes inside big company, like, are not going to make decisions that say, "Oh yes, we definitely need to email that person back."
Right.
Like, there's zero reason to do that.
Unless, and this is part of the big game that we're playing here, is that unless there is a single entity on Tubes R Us,
Yep.
right? Unless there is a single content creator on Tubes R Us that is 10% of Tubes R Us's income, and no one is, because it's designed that way. It's really smart.
Well, and again, Tubes R Us is and this is where the narrative of the little guy, right, comes in, and it just appeals to us in Western society. Tubes R Us started as a small startup company in 2013, and it was started by Rachel and Sean Jacobs. Rachel and Sean Jacobs had a desire to share their tent camping videos. And what started with a simple desire to share tent camping videos has now turned into the whole world knowing about tenting, camping, and every other possible hobby. Right? So like then there's the narrative. Oh, we are a little guy. We are the small business. No, you're not. No, you're not. In terms of business companies, you're top 500 in the world. You are not a small business. You literally have more people working for you than many governments across the world.
Sure.
You have the GDP of several countries across the world. Some of them are not even small.
Wait, this made me think of things like Uber and Uber Eats.
Sure.
I think Grubhub, all these food delivery, these sort of third-party contract labor services that have all been startups.
Yeah.
Lyft actually just left Austin and Boston. Did you get that email?
I did not.
I did. Well, only because I'm in Austin, I guess. We got an email, I think it was last week, wasn't it, right? Fasten, whatever, not Lyft. Yeah, Fasten's one of the ones that was just in these two towns, Austin and Boston. And they sent an email last week saying, yeah, we're out of here. We, our corporate interests in other countries say that we need to bolster in not the United States, so we're gone.
That's interesting.
I'm actually interested. I want you to read that and tell me, because
forward that.
You have a better lens on that sort of lingo, and it felt like it was a little bit more information than a consumer probably needed to know. Like a lot of that looked like it wouldn't parse.
Well, so maybe some of that is again spinning. I'm not sure if I have better eyes for that. I just have great
another set of eyes.
I just have great ginormous tinfoil glass eyes as I look at anything and say, oh,
that's corruption. That's what that is. That's, yeah. So, but mild tangent. Look at that later. But suffice to say that if lots of big entities are able to be very small offices of 50 or more people that can just contract in any Joe Schmo and give them no benefits, no safety net whatsoever, right?
Yep.
No shares, no profits, no pension, no nothing.
Yep. Just direct money that is proportional. It's commission sales. Like when you work for YouTube or Twitch, it's interesting because a lot of the people who work in those locations and vocations would never be caught selling something in a mall for commission.
Sure.
Right, you'd never see them selling a car. What's that old advertisement? You wouldn't download a car, would you? Like you'd never see these people selling these other things. Yet they're happy to talk about Red Bull on their live stream. They're happy to talk about the type of Chinese food that they just ordered.
I've never seen that yet.
Like
I'm sure it exists, and I'm sure if I saw it, if I like came across it like a wild Pokemon, I would barf.
Well, so for instance, I would say a lot of the times they're in the background. So let's look at it from.
Oh, it's just in view. Like your ad must be visible like this.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah, or it could be a direct discussion, right? There are some variety streamers that stream particular games because they've been paid by the company to promote the game.
Yeah.
Right. A couple of the bigger named PUBG players were first originally paid by Epic Games to show off Fortnite Battle Royale. And Fortnite Battle Royale took off. Now, not all because of that, right? But it's all marketing, right? It all plays into larger awareness and adoption.
That's really brilliant, actually. The idea that marketing is finally catching on to the idea of I can get a pro to be my mouthpiece for why people should buy this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why. You remember when Flappy Bird was an unprecedented accident?
Yeah.
People learned. People learned. It wasn't weird. It was a popular guy said, "Hey, check out this bullshit."
Yeah.
Just got a bunch of eyes on it.
Yeah.
That's their job.
That is his job.
I just hire 6 of those guys who get 1 billion views and say, "Look, just play this and talk about it."
Yep.
And pretend like you weren't hired by me. That's important.
Yep. It's just a cool game that you're doing in your downtime.
It's just a cool game that I'm doing in my downtime.
Now, some people, it is actually important that they say that they're being paid, right? Because some people's audience, again, it depends on your audience. That you have to know your audience as you're marketing. Because some people's audience want to know and actually spend money and take actions more effectively.
Yeah.
For what the paying company desires, the advertising company.
Sure.
If somebody is transparent and says, "Yep, I'm actually being paid to do this, and the reason why I took this job, the reason why I took this gig to play this game is because I really like the way how the developers are approaching this game. I really like how they're involved with the community, and I really like."
There you go.
Right? Like this is all lingo that we're familiar with.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, I'm eating it up.
Like the mistake there, is not, oh my goodness, are some people getting paid to advertise these games on Twitch? The mistake there is assuming that, oh my goodness, if you're not getting paid to play somebody's game on Twitch, then you're advertising it for free.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're doing. Like, the Steam's friends list, as great as it is a social component, it is not there to be a social component. It is there to be another piece of marketing.
Oh, yeah.
That's why as soon as you boot up another game, Steam wants you to broadcast to other people in your network, hey, I'm playing this game.
Yeah, I turned that off.
Which is great.
It is great, but I don't know if I turned it off for marketing reasons. I turned it off because I hate green windows in the corner of my screen that are not related to the game I'm playing right now.
I agree. You're like, what's that new animation? Oh, that's not.
No, look, I'm in another world right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bothered with this other world. It's like, hey, you're playing a game on a Steam. No. I'm in Has Been Heroes, and it's great, and that's all I want to do. I want to I want to be in this world, and there's no other worlds.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Immersion.
Immersion.
That's another great buzzword. Oh, the reason why I'm playing this game on stream is because it's just really immersive, and I just want you guys to all be immersed with me while I experience this. It's amazing. And it's like, you're reading your Twitch chat. You are not immersed in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
You are social promo guy, and that's fine.
Yeah, it is.
Like, that is good.
It is good.
Like, that's a good thing. You have a job doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
It's easy to hate when you're not the one who got the offer.
Sure. And
it's easy to hate when you're not the one who came up with it of, hey, I will advertise this if you pay me.
Sure. And it's also easy to hate when you don't appreciate the work that's involved. Right?
Oh yeah.
So
because that's not work. You're just playing video games.
Exactly. And it is playing video games for the people who do play video games as a hobby. It is work for people who wake up in the morning and go, I have an 8-hour stream that I have to be happy and excited to go play games that I was happy and excited to play yesterday. And the gameplay loop is the same thing over the course of a less than 30-minute match most of the time, unless, of course, I survive until the end. And I'm going to smile and be engaging and play music and watch people's memes and read off their stupid fucking donations every 2 to 3 minutes. And that's how I'm going to get paid today.
Yeah.
Now, for some people, that's a dream job.
I might negotiate that a little bit.
I mean, if you are Shroud or Doc or Lyric or
I don't know who any of these guys are, and I'm happy for
that's
that.
An awesome job. Any one of them who were millionaires from this stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I do think, right, that sometimes our aversion and our jealousy to other people's wealth simply says, oh, well, if someone else is wealthy, then that means that they must love what it is that they do as well. Like, now, sometimes that's sometimes that's a misnomer. Like, sometimes it is very, very hard work, and people do separate their work lives from their personal lives, and they're still very, very successful and very, very rich. I shouldn't say wealthy, but they become rich.
Yeah, they become lucratively employed.
Yeah, and then sometimes, right, people really, really love their jobs, but they don't make a ton of money at it.
Sure.
Right. Like, so there's all sorts of scenarios there. And you know what? Big Corp company and our platform, Incorporated and Associates, is just happy that you can do whatever it is that you want to do, just like Jake and Rachel did when they went out and wanted to share their passion for tenting with other people. And we want you to share your passion, and we want your viewers to be able to engage with you and enjoy your videos, but no dead bodies.
Okay. That's fair. unless
I feel so Rucci right now.
I'm glad. That's
I feel
what I wanted.
gross.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted you to have to chew on that, to know that you have to sample the dark side if you want to masquerade as it.
Oh, it feels so
But no,
gross.
it's It's dead bodies are fine if they're all in a video game.
Yeah, there you go.
Then make as many as you want.
And it's a particular video game, right? Like, there are some video games that actually don't get released or don't get Steam greenlighted, right? There's another platform that exercises censorship quite often.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
There was a game in 2015, right after I just hired our content director, Sonic. He's occasionally on.
Yeah.
And got wind that a game called Kill the Fag was coming out.
Fuck me.
And it had
Oh
been,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
It had been Steam greenlighted, and we got wind of it on a Thursday. I was actually really proud and really glad of our content department.
Just to find that and like look at this specimen.
Yeah, we were one of the first ones to comment on it and to come back with a Christian perspective on it.
Interesting.
And so we got a lot of traffic based off of that, which was great. But I was just really proud because it was the first time for our little organization that we looked at that there was a current event that we looked at and said, yep, we actually have to respond to this current event, and we did so in under 48 hours. Like,
That's classic.
that's normal for like a normal news cycle, right? Like even faster is a normal news cycle, but for us that we don't thrive off of news, we thrive off of content that's been planned out for a long time.
Yeah.
Like that was really, really cool that we were able to pull that off. But anyway, yeah, KTF, it was removed from its Steam lighting, or green lighting, and
So you should call it that. I like that better.
yeah, Steam lighting, and for lots of different reasons. But that's another interesting example, right? Where you could look at that and go, well, why is it that game got the axe, but something like Bully did not?
Well, I know why.
Well, lots of reasons why. What are some of them? What are some of your ideas?
Well, Bully was not as free-form violent as it was tomatoed to be.
Yeah.
Like I believe that the media had a big pile of tomatoes ready to hurl at the next game Rockstar would make that was the same as the last Rockstar game, except everyone's 12 and you can still kill everybody.
Yeah.
Right? When you lie that big, and video games aren't quite mainstream yet. I mean, they're mainstream now.
But they weren't
They
then,
weren't
yeah.
quite mainstream then. And it was easy to believe the news because parents were brought up to trust the news.
Right.
No, having not even played it myself yet, I've been able to trust editors, critical thought piece dudes with whom I've had enough, experience to go, yeah, I think I can trust their take on it, that it's not a criminal release of content.
Sure. And from a graphical perspective, KTF was actually not as... It was interesting. It was really, really interesting to parse why it was that we had a problem with it. Because up until that point, we had not said about any game, don't support this game. And a lot of people up until that point had asked us, hey, are there any games that you would not support or games that you'd give the thumbs down to? Or and our stance at that point, as a small, tiny ministry company, our stance at that point, and still has been, we're never going to tell you yes or no on a game. We're going to present you with what the game is, and then we're going to tell you whether us and our conscience can play it. But we're not going to prescribe you and your conscience because it's different.
Interesting.
So
hold on. You would ascribe whether or not this piece of game material is something that the community that you are a part of would play.
Yeah.
And then whether or not why basically.
Yeah.
Here's our values. Here was why this isn't, present our values.
This does jive or it doesn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't jive for us.
Yeah.
But that's just us.
But that's just us. And it could be that you, even though you're a member of our people group, you could actually be totally different on this.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay. And so that's why we're coming out with a review, and that's part of the reason why we play it. And so there is actually some games that we would play.
So let me ask you about the KTF game. So I remember the only place I remember seeing it referenced
Yeah.
was in the Gospel and Gaming article about it, or
Yeah.
the G3 article about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and maybe you can tell me, if it occasioned more controversy in the greater community. Obviously, it got pulled off of Steam, but did it occasion any broader media attention?
Yeah, no, the Wall Street Journal or Forbes at that point didn't pick it up.
Really?
No, they did not. They did not.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
surprising.
you're trying to think back to other major news outlets such as on that scale,
Where they did about stuff like the hot
with
coffee,
Billy. Yeah.
for example.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Or the GTA hot coffee, right?
Yep.
So I wonder how much actually giving any attention at all
Yep.
KTF had an effect on.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yep.
to me, it makes much more sense to come out with a stance against a game that might be actually put in front of somebody, right?
Sure.
Whereas this KTF game was very unlikely to actually get put in front of anybody, you know?
Well, so that's debatable. So within the 48 hours that we came out with our piece, it was still on Steam Greenlight.
Yeah.
So that was part of our discussion actually, was do we even say anything? Because if we say something, we're
gonna affect it.
we're giving this thing our time.
That's right. You are providing material that may or may not be the decision maker of green light or not.
Yeah.
Right.
So for us, it was really, really tough because, again, we also didn't want to set a precedent. Okay, so does this mean that every single dirty game, and by dirty
Right,
game,
exactly, because there are tons of
There are
like
tons of games that
particularly
really come out.
anime games and stuff
Oh
that
yeah.
are
but
They're full of content, brimming with succulent content. Never mind.
sure, that we would not necessarily say, hey, this is good content
Right.
that we can highly recommend, or that we can even warn you about. We're just going to say, hey, this is outside of the bounds of our conscience. Like, why would you even ask that question to play it?
Suck was a part of that word you just said. I'm
Oh, there you go.
Just
sorry.
slinging butt.
just started
So-
But
So that was a part of our discussion. We actually had that debate, like in house. There were three of us that night that we kind of debated this. Like, okay, do we come out with anything? That was the first
Yeah.
thing that had to be argued. And then if we come out with something, what do we come out with?
yeah.
Even in our piece, I believe we only quoted the name of the game once, and then from there on in, whenever we referenced it as KTF.
Right. Because
And again,
I mean that's smart because it's a cultural thing to abbreviate a game into an acronym immediately.
yep. And so we wanted to be sensitive both to the gaming lingo that it would be referenced as, but then also we didn't want to glorify in any sort of way, similarly to coverage of mass shootings. We didn't want to glorify the developers or the name. We didn't want to lend ourselves to redirects from our website to their website.
You don't want to create a path by which a creature can become lionized or demonized at the tip of a switch.
Yeah.
You don't want to light that fire. Say they're either going to be the worst thing ever, the best thing ever. I'm going to help make it happen. Or they're the underdog. They're the underdog narrative. Go, go, go. Basically, non-incendiary publication.
Right. Anyway, so all that being said, that's a small, very, very small, non-business decision, but a ministry decision that we made. Like, hey, we're going to censor some of the way how we cover this, but we are not going to censor entirely. In fact, we're actually going to shine some light on this because the reality is that most of our readers that are not gamers never would have ever heard of this. But again,
Correct.
at that point in time, we did not know that. Right, making that decision, and again, it's one of the reasons why I'm very, very proud of those 48 hours. I would say it's one of the highlights of my life in ministry thus far was making a decision on that and coming out with the content that we did on that.
Yeah.
Simply because
And not regretting it.
and not regretting it. Because again, we had no deciding factor like, oh, well, this could be really beneficial to us if we do this, and well, the New York Times just wrote about this, so people are already going to be reading about it and they'll reference it, and it was just like, all right, time to actually set some policy do we speak back into this? And if we do, we need to speak back into this quickly, not because of competitors, but because this is what this particular platform, Steam, is discussing right now. And so if we're going to speak into it, we got to speak while, or I'm mixing metaphors. We have to strike while the iron is hot.
There you go.
If we come out with something in a week,
it'll be buried under comments of something that's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's not going to matter, and other voices will have already spoken. So our chance, if other voices are even going to listen, and we're going to participate in the greater, larger discussion, should there be one that takes place, we have to do that now. Anyway,
correct.
As a representative of the fictional corporation Big Corp, I have to say though that that censorship should always come back down to, is this piece of media, piece of content, piece of whatever that is being hosted on our site, is it serving the interests of our constituents?
Yeah, of our investors.
And if it's not, and maybe that's investors, maybe that's donors, maybe that's clients through the door, like whatever it is.
Our benefactors.
Our benefactors, yeah.
Our benefactors.
If it's not serving them, then we actually shouldn't have our jobs if we're not making the best decisions for them.
That's true.
Like we shouldn't be.
That is really true. I gotta pay my mortgage. Damn it.
Yeah, that was actually something that I was wanting to mention in the course of this conversation. That there's a difference between how we view quite negatively government censorship.
Yeah.
And an organization or platform and the appropriateness of censorship on that platform. Just taking as example this Discord, we have deleted some things some people have posted and then banned those people because they didn't meet with our community standard, which is by the strict definition censorship. It
is censorship. Yep.
Yes. And I don't think there's any moral or ethical problem with that. Right?
That's smart though. The way you said that is really smart, right? Because you didn't say it's not censorship. Because then everyone around is going, yes, it is,
No, they do say that, regardless of how we turn.
I mean, you're right. Community do say that.
Members of our community do say regardless.
Regardless? I'm sorry.
I'm triggered. I'm triggered.
But no, it's really smart, Ribbit, that because honestly, every time I come across this topic, if it's not censorship, it's not censorship. No, argue. You went one tiny step into, no, it is censorship, and it's fine.
Yep.
Shut up. We have to censor this, or we don't get paid.
Right.
Smart. It's smart and it's necessary.
It is. There are appropriate times and content to censorship in the right context, and we as a society have decided that, except under the most egregious of examples, it is wrong for governments to censor.
Right.
Like that is one of the bulwarks of the Western system of democracy. Right?
Is
that it is wrong for governments to censor. Well, some morons will then, of course, translate that into, well, censorship is wrong in all cases.
Right. That's the part that everyone always gets stuck on.
And that's a preposterous proposition, right? Because they don't act that way in their own lives and don't expect people to act that way in their own lives.
Well, no, but in this argument that I need to win right now, I'm going to pretend that you're the worst person ever and I'm the best person ever.
That's right.
Mm.
Yeah, I think, remind me, Jeeves, I thought we had discussed a little bit about government censorship versus corporate censorship at the beginning of tonight. I don't remember now.
I don't either.
But yeah, that there is a distinction.
That distinction is an even more fun topic now.
And one of the reasons, that's right, we did discuss it.
I gotta go check on my daughter.
Okay. One of the reasons why we did discuss it was because of force, the use of force, right? The government has the
use
of force in order to implement, right? Whereas a company has to go and petition the government to use force to uphold.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Gotta hire mercenaries.
Yeah, you gotta hire mercenaries or lobbyists. Yeah, we made that joke. So that...
It's a good joke.
That's at least one contributing factor or one differentiating factor between corporate censorship versus Or
Well, I
rather,
imagine
private
the
use
government
of-
censorship thing has to look at it like, man, if we do this, are we going to destabilize a nation? Are we going to get, if 50% of them say they're okay with it, are the other 50% just going to fall in line because they ran out of the ability to complain?
And is that even a problem, right? Like Sunshine posted the meme
Yeah.
today. What was the meme? I need to look at. It was it's the Groog or the bad guy from What You Who's It meme.
Yeah.
He says, "Seize the means of production, kill the bourgeoisie, then starve to death." Wait a minute, starve to death? Like,
Right. Well, no,
this is a terrible plan.
The one that comes to mind most readily is Count Dankula. You guys know Count Dankula.
Welcome back.
You don't know Count Dankula?
I don't.
Count Dankula is a Scottish gentleman who did the most fantastic prank. His girlfriend has a pug, which is a disgusting, revolting
yes,
animal.
I do. This is the guy who.
This is
abused
the
his
guy.
dog.
Yes.
Okay.
He taught the dog to do the Hitler Sieg Heil salute, right?
Oh, okay.
As a funny joke. And then put it on the YouTubes, and that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
And this year, 2018, the Scottish government said no, or the British government, I forget. Great Britain decided, no, this we have to make an example of this person. This is not an okay thing to say. He has to go to prison for 5 years.
Wow.
And that court proceeding is ongoing, and can be ongoing for years if the state wants it. And Dankula explained that the attorney that is the prosecution against him wants to win. That was the ending. His ending analysis of it is that attorney wants to win at any cost, and will say anything in that courtroom to justify that the things this person did in this video are hateful. And it, I mean, I touched on this earlier in the beginning of this conversation. This will make more sense now. That the Nazi Party is gone. And that we can make light of their failure by making a hideous animal cute, but okay, you're ugly.
Yeah.
Do
I like
the
dogs, and I
salute.
think it's ugly.
There you go. There you go. It's the worst dog you can have.
Yeah.
But I like dogs.
Even for that dog. Like, that dog's existence is miserable. But anyway. Yes.
Yeah, I can't even breathe right.
Yeah.
But he salutes like the best of them.
Yep.
But you know, you can't make fun. If you might hurt someone's feelings, the bottom line of our government's gonna fall off them under us. We gotta protect our bottom line, man.
Yeah.
So you can't say that, and we decide that that's not okay.
Yeah, and see,
That's terrifying.
This is where I think, and maybe I've just been, maybe I've gone too far down my LARPing role. Like, I think that censorship actually, in a lot of ways, is a good thing. In a lot of ways, the reason why I don't trust censorship, again, in the hands of the government, is because they're the ones that have the hands to actually
Incarcerate.
Yeah, enforce very effectively when people dissent. In a free market, when I dissent with someone's censorship, I simply go to another store.
That's right.
I simply go to another platform. Again, if the company that I represent right now, big mega platform, Social Corp, says you can't host your video here, well, thankfully there's Snoop Tube, where you can go post all of your Snoop videos about Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You can go do that.
I wouldn't. I want to.
Yeah. But when the government does it, and the government has the ability to tell you cannot leave this country, because they control, like, the border.
Yeah.
That's a lot tougher to be like, all right, man, I'm out of here. I'm just going to go to the next country, restart my whole life.
Ugh,
Like,
I don't.
That's a differentiating factor.
It really is. That's one of many.
Yeah, one of many. Like another great example of censorship in action that's great is my boy. He likes poop jokes right now.
Oh, good.
Get it?
I still like poop jokes, so it's kind of understandable.
Sure.
Like father, like son. He's not even 3. You know, I'm 30.
But you know why he
fine.
likes poop jokes? He only likes poop jokes because you told him.
Because I've told him poop jokes. Like, so he loves
He
them.
only likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that boys just like poop jokes.
Sure.
Wait. Guys, do you hear that?
What's
Listen.
It's the SJWs crying
No,
out.
Everyone. Shut up. Listen.
Who is it? Oh, I heard it.
See, that sound was hilarious.
I mean, where do you
know.
think I came from? Why do you think I left the party for a little bit? I had some farts to lay down in another room.
Yeah.
Well,
Farty's over here, guys.
So it's great.
It is. It's fantastic.
But
it's silly.
Here's a problem. So
Mm-hmm.
this Sunday, I am in the last 5 minutes of my sermon, and my boy decides he's going to walk up and hang out with me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I can preach with him in my arms. That's fine. Done that before. That's fine. Especially if he's too much, to sit in his pew or to sit in his seat right now, then like, hey, I still need to be a dad. That's a part of my job, as well as finishing out the sermon. We can do that. So we're going to do that. Well, then I put him back down and give him, I think it was my name tag. I gave him my name tag, and then he walked back over to his seat. And he starts telling himself poop jokes as he's walking back to his seat.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So censorship in this regard, right, was me telling my boy, Ezra, be quiet as you walk over to your seat, please.
Right.
Right? Censorship can be a really good thing. Censorship, rightly exercised, is knowing not just when it is beneficial or unbeneficial to bring something up.
Or appropriate.
Or appropriate, right? But it is also knowing not just when it is good or when it is bad to say something in the context of what's appropriate or what might offend people, but beyond that, it's knowing, if I don't say something, there's actually times for me to say things that do make people uncomfortable, and that's appropriate.
Yeah.
That's actually appropriate to do.
Right.
Other people may want to censor me on this particular global platform. So actually, I'm going to go to another global platform and shout it from the rooftops.
That's right. Let's shit it from the rooftops.
And that is perfect. And you can say both things. You can say that is within the rights of that other company to say your voice is not welcome here. And it's also within my rights to go to another company. And it's also within the rights of that other company to then open its doors and welcome people who are now exiles of the other competing company that no longer wants them.
Sure.
Like, all of these things are good. What becomes bad for censorship, even from Big Corp's perspective, is when Big Corp has a monopoly. And when Big Corp doesn't have to compete, Big Corp gets fat and lazy and corrupt.
Yeah.
And it actually hurts the bottom line overall. And you can just look at that when you look at early 20th century Russian communism.
Yeah, you rest on your laurels. You've got no reason to do better. You stay sharp because you spar. You stay sharp because you do drills, and you are at war as often as possible to keep your teeth sharp. But the moment that you don't need to compete is when you let a decade of technology pass you by, and the next guy who actually competes is just miles ahead of you, and you don't even. I mean, that's AT&T, right?
Yeah.
Cell phones destroyed them, and they had all this copper in the ground that meant nothing. That was meaning less and less every minute.
That must have hurt them so. Like, to think of anybody that worked on infrastructure for AT&T, like, cell phones must have been terrifying.
Oh yeah, that's what we call disruptive, a disruptive market, or disruptive
force in the market.
That's what we call times are changing, man. If I'd done what people wanted, I would have built a faster horse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I can see a lot of people's reluctance when it comes to innovation at this point. The number of leaps in convenience in the last decade is so monumental compared to our past accomplishments, that to be under the gun of innovating something useful on top of what we've already got is a stretch.
Yeah,
that's a stretch and a half.
But it's a great stretch to be in, right? Just like as we were talking with the Model T earlier, right? Even the biggest innovations, eventually their records get broken.
Yeah.
Eventually people move on and adopt something new, something different.
That's right.
There will be another societal revolutionary shift.
Yeah. There will be another Harry Potter.
Yeah. Well,
No.
There'll be another... no. There'll be another Star Wars. There'll be another... there'll be another Nintendo.
yeah.
That's terrifying.
Which, to some extent, at least in the book of Proverbs, from it's not even a faith statement. That's one of the things that's beautiful about the book of Proverbs. You can not be a Christian and read Proverbs and be like, yeah, there's some good shit in there. But like the statement that there is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
It's not a statement that like, hey, there were cell phones at the time that this person wrote, because there weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that is a new thing. Oh, disproved it. Must be a inconsistency in the scripture.
No, great. I don't need to pay attention to it. Great.
Right, exactly.
I can just learn nothing.
Right, rather than actually going, oh, what they're referencing is, yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right. Which is the newer, better, sleeker, straight razor thing.
It's the Twitterable. It's the tweetable.
Yeah. I want it.
Yeah.
Well, I can make 1 billion of these and sell you one for 1/10 the cost you've been paying.
There you go.
I want to shave every day. Aries.
There's Aries. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Smart.
When a good family good family member? No.
Mm-hmm.
When a trusted family member sent me a promotion for Harry's, I was really worried that he was in a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh.
Oh shit.
Do I have to sign up for this now? Is this so?
Do I have to eat this?
No.
Well, thank God it starts with a free trial.
No, that's what got me so scared. I was like, nope. They were like, hey, did you ever use that promo code? I was like, I think I'll be good.
Dude, hold on. When did you get that? What year?
Probably towards the end of last year, like fall.
Okay, this is fascinating. So check this shit out. When I was already in Harry's, they did me one better, right? Here's what they did. They don't say, here, give this a promo code to somebody. That's small ball. That's not good enough, right? That's here, I'm selling snake oil and I'm an idiot. Mm-hmm. Here's what they do. They say, put in the address of your friend and send them a free razor. Right? Then check this out. So you'll just get a gift in the mail from your friend that is a shave kit.
As
okay.
a representative of Big Corp platform, I have to say that's a brilliant idea and I enjoy it.
Yeah. It's remarkable because it bifurcates the interaction completely. It says, I got my friend a gift and it looks fucking good.
Yeah. And
it's quality. And there's none of that gross, hey, try my free good thing that you'll think is good as soon as you're using it. Because that smells like a monthly subscription that I don't want to buy.
Yeah,
it sounds like more of my money. I don't have enough of it. Fuck it. Right? But man, when I send my girlfriend a razor blade in the mail, it's like, hey, you get that razor? It's so good. What did you pay for it? Nothing. Oh my god!
And how thoughtful of you! Like I was just out. How
thoughtful of you! I had no razor. This one's so much better, and it costs how much to refresh it? What?
Yeah, and it's like we're always out of razors because razors are a disposable item. So there was zero thoughtfulness involved. But anyway,
and they're overpriced, and I never want to buy more because I'm always slave to paying $30 for a refill.
Right.
But not with Harry's. Oh man, that was very.
So that's
very
what I need to do.
marketing.
So that's what I need to do then, right? In all of my
Okay.
future endeavors, rather than asking for people to sign up, I just need to say thank you for signing up, and also sign up 2 of your friends.
Yep,
That is so no.
it's devious.
There is so many. This is a different discussion of importance.
It is, and I want to have it, but not tonight. Because the ramifications of that are suddenly very disastrous if it fails.
That's so gross.
It's really bad. Like it's a big risk.
And I'm not even just thinking of Harry's.
Sure.
I'm just saying man, I'm just going to sound like an old fogey. The audacity of another individual to put my address into something and then send me something. How dare you?
How dare!
That is my address.
Yeah, it's not public. Ugh.
I am now no longer going to trust you.
That's right.
Catch me up. I had a Ninja AFK.
Do you think they even will inform you like which friend sent it to you?
It's you can type in what name you are. You can type in this gift is from blank.
Do you think they're
Yeah, you
obligated?
can.
to?
Which means
you're
if
not
I get
obligated.
Harry's,
friend.
which means if I get any Harry's in a week, I am not
Yeah.
coming back on Discord. All of you are gone. I'm gone. I do not exist. You're all dead to me.
Jake, I have some really hard news.
No. You're all dead to me.
You should just let Amy check your mail for
I'm out.
next week or so.
Do you remember how last year you subscribed to that cool service where you get groceries?
Facebook?
Do you remember how you started doing that thing that you loved a year ago? That was all me.
Yeah. Yep.
Cleverly making you think that you discovered it all on your own.
Now, see, that is, I think that's brilliant, right? It takes true brilliance to actually convince someone to do something. And I can respect that. And there's some salesmanship to it. And the reason why salesmanship is a good thing is because it still puts the agency of decision back in the consumer. It puts that agency in the consumer. What the scenario as you just described it is, this is worse than censorship. Now I'm just being hyperbolic because I have no idea.
I love it though. Keep going.
This is worse than censorship by 1,000 times. Okay, because corporate censorship in a free market just means that the company itself is saying, you know what, I don't want those types of customers.
Right.
Which opens up a market for other companies.
Uh-huh.
However, people voluntarily acting as an agent on your behalf. It is a violation of what you started the night off talking, Jeebus, of personal privacy and personal property.
Okay.
Right? And there have been even legal instances, right, where if you ask to be placed on a do not call, do not disturb, do not mail list, right, companies can get in big trouble. They don't always, and people don't always pursue the legal means, but nonetheless, the boundaries of the law are in place to prevent people from accessing your address that you do not want to have access to your address personally, right? Your address is on public display in front of your house as is legally constituted. However,
So
beyond
this
that, beyond
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
someone knowing that's your house and walking by your house and stalking you to find out that that's your house, like that information is in between you and the people you choose to share that with.
Right. So this is a loophole that lets me go, hey, I gave out your address to give you a free thing.
And I think the implication, and again, the worry that what I'm worried about is, again, it's the same thing as all of our, and I think I'll use this example because many of us are sympathetic to this. It's our worries about Facebook, and not a big brother from the government, but a big brother from the private company.
Yeah, or the big brother that was created by people who will just rat us out.
Voluntarily give stuff away that
Yeah.
you do not want given away. Like that was a huge conflict with my family when we first started having kids, and they wanted to post plaster pictures all over Facebook, and I was like, look, folks, this is the way it's going to work. If you post anything on here, we're done unless we've got approval of what you've posted. Just
Wow.
period. We are done. Like done.
Cool.
Because
Diamond rings.
unless it's been approved and unless we all can go, yep, this is what we want to post and this is okay for everybody to share, because we are making decisions on behalf of another human being that cannot make those decisions for themselves right now.
That's true.
So unless we can say, yep, when this person comes of age and goes, why did you post that? And we can give them a reason, because this stuff is not going away.
That's true.
It's going to be accessible.
Eternal.
And
That's
maybe,
the Wayback Machine.
yeah. And maybe it could be taken down at some point. But unless you're comfortable telling that person to their face, yep, I posted that on your behalf, you just shouldn't post it. Now, thankfully, that wasn't a big fight on the opposite end. Like, that was a big deal to come to that conclusion. It was not a big deal once we had set that policy up. My family was very, very respectful of that. Everybody's on board with that. Like, years later, I still get text messages like, hey, I'm going to post this thing. Is that cool? And I'm like, yes, that's totally appropriate. That's totally cool.
They're keeping up their end of the bargain. That's classy.
But yeah, exactly, right? Because it recognizes... Again, the agency of the decision is not in this person's hand. Whereas when you volunteer your friend, like for instance, if somebody comes to our website, gospelandgaming.net, and they sign up for our weekly pastors exclusive, our weekly gaming news, we used to call it pastors exclusive, but our weekly gaming news email update, it comes with 2 little news pieces, right? Right. It's a incredibly pragmatic little delivery mechanism to give you 2 quick things to talk about gaming stuff. And if you're not into gaming, it gives you that stuff to talk about with people who are in gaming. And if you are in gaming, we try to go out of our way to find stuff that, yes, gamers are talking about, but it's not like the biggest thing that gamers are talking about that week. So that way, hopefully, even people who are into gaming can go, oh, you're talking about that thing. I actually didn't know about that thing. You must really be in the know.
It's an exclusive.
Yeah, and that's why we originally called it Pastors Exclusive. Like, not only are you going to go into conversations armed with conversational topics, but you're actually going to go in and appear much more informed than you actually are, and hopefully over the aggregate of several different weeks, you become more informed than you ever were. Anyway, all that is to say, if someone comes to our website, signs up for that, and then signs their friend up, to me, that's incredibly unethical.
Yeah.
Sure. You have zero right to put somebody else's email in there.
That's true. That's true.
It's a common kind of pseudo hack to sign somebody up for.
It's a loophole for sure.
A bunch of
No good. Well, this one they seem to have dodged all the right missiles, all the booby traps in this. Is right when they say, "Get this thing for your friend." It's literally give the gift of Harry's. That's how they phrase it. And when you send it, it's a razor blade and a bit of cream and an ad for signing. Here's the website, if you want it, come get it. But you don't sign them up on any regular mailing or email.
And that right there, I think I heard somebody voicing my opinion in your room, Jeebus.
Yeah.
That is entirely on your relationship with the company to believe that you are not being signed up for anything else.
Pretty much. I had to take that risk.
Like, that is, I'm signing you up for this. You're welcome. By the way, they also said they're a trustworthy company and you can trust them.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're not located in Nigeria, nor are they in any way related to any sort of royalty or princes from Nigeria.
Dude, you're right. Hold on a second. You're hitting a really smart point here. If there was a chance at all that I adopted way too quickly to some bullshit startup that then sold itself and all of the data it had accumulated vis-a-vis piles of mailing addresses, which could still happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Harry's basically in this alternate universe where Harry's became profitable, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking idiot who sold out my 2 friends. But in another alternate universe, I am a pyramid scheme.
And look, right, this is where intentions break down, right? And where you go, it's okay. Where you go, it's okay. But this is why we gotta talk about this stuff.
That's true.
Like,
you're right.
Companies are really smart, and so are we.
Uh-huh.
And so when they think of something smart, we ought to go, okay, what does this mean?
What if this? Right. What does all that big list of mailing addresses mean after you go bankrupt and someone inherits it by buying you out when you're worth a cent per stock?
Oh man. And it is really cool. Like, it is really cool to be a part of that. Cool. And I would just argue again that there's nothing wrong with and there's nothing stupid, there's nothing silly about doing what you've done again for yourself and for someone else who does appreciate it.
Sure.
Right? But I think what it epitomizes, sure, but what it epitomizes is the behavior: ask for forgiveness, don't ask for permission.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I am a very spontaneous romantic. When I try to do things romantically towards the individual whom I've loved and give my life to, I'm very spontaneous. So I'm totally the type of person. Now, I haven't done this successfully in almost 8 years because of our children, but I'm totally the type of person to be like, hey, let's go away for the weekend.
Yeah.
And two people in this room that have known me face to face know that I'm up for a lot of spontaneous things face to face. Whenever I can work that out in my schedule, I'm like, yes, I'm there.
Face to face.
Right? And like Jeebus, you've known this for years because you'll spontaneously message me with something and be like, hey, there's this thing. And I'm like, that is a thing. Let's do the thing about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Cool.
So I'm very, very spontaneous in that regard. That being said, if my spontaneity assumes on my romantic partner's plans, I have to acquiesce and realize that there is agency in my romantic partner.
Oh, sure.
She has agency. So if I say, let's get away for the weekend, and I've been planning this for X amount of months, and she says, oh, this is actually a really bad weekend to do that. Why didn't you consider these other factors? I've got to go, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Rather
the spontaneity thing helps that tremendously because then you haven't planned anything.
Exactly. Rather than going, ooh, yeah, well, I already booked everything, and you have to come.
Yeah, now you're a martyr, fucker.
Yeah.
Then it's a bad thing. Then it's poison.
Yeah, and then it's not a gift, right? Like a gift is a gift for the other person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so man, Harry's that is brilliant. I am so glad you told me about that. Because this family member was hounding me about Harry's. Like I would talk to this family member and like one of the first things they would ask me is, "Hey, did you redeem that Harry's?" And I was like, "No."
Well, here's why. They've got a positive reinforcement loop with everyone else who is not you, who is 10, 20 maybe other people who have gotten it and said, oh man, you fixed my life. This is the only way to do it. And he's just waiting for you to get on board. That's what it is.
That's good.
Yeah. And of course, you are seeing, you're only one point of connection to this salesperson, right? Oh. And you only smell the salesperson, and you know it reeks of salesperson, so you're not going to bite. It's not you bounce right off of it because it's not speaking to you in a way that entertains your values as a consumer who wants to be spoken to with a modicum of decorum, who is not going to go get a car sold to him by a car salesman.
Yeah, go ahead.
That reminds me. I don't know how related this is, but it's slightly related. So I have, on a number of occasions, used a website called MassDrop to order specialty items. So MassDrop is it is a private in the sense that in order to use it, you must have a membership.
Yeah,
but it's free. But it's free to sign up.
It's a Costco delivery, I'm guessing.
What it is that it is a communal discounts. So what it is a number of people will sign up to purchase a product if it gets to a certain price, and the more people sign up, the lower the price gets.
Whoa!
And it's usually specialty items. For instance, what got me into it was mechanical keyboards, which is kind of a niche.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a niche interest, and so it's usually for things that don't get mass produced, or often for never mind. There are communities on there that are specifically there because it's difficult to get their stuff mass produced. There are other communities on there that for mass produced stuff, and that's just fine, right?
Sure. The idea here is to get enough people interested to go, oh, as soon as this drops below this, we're all buying it.
And if not enough people are interested, then it doesn't drop, as it were, and nobody gets the thing. Right. They get their money back, right? Anyway, if you send out a link to a thing, then with that link comes it's a referral link, right?
Yes.
And they can't view the item unless they join the website.
Ooh, so it's a hard sell.
Right, but joining the website doesn't. I mean, they don't have to pay anything, but
you do have to pay your time.
Yeah,
you do have to
time to sign up for something.
Sign up for something.
Give out information. Yeah.
And so I've never linked any of my friends a referral link because mostly because
friendship.
I value friendship, but mostly because most of my friends aren't really interested in the niches that I'm interested in. There's a couple. Although board gaming, actually, I think I might have told people, hey, there's a board game dropping that you might want, but I haven't done.
You wouldn't link them.
So the reason,
and if you did, you would say, I've got this link that does this thing, but it's like gross if I send the link without explaining it.
Right. So the reason that you would want to link, however, is that if a certain number of people, a threshold of people who sign up through your link and purchase things, then you get free stuff. Okay? They'll send you an assortment of stuff based on the different item communities that you are subscribed to.
Sort of a Loot Crate consolation prize.
Sure, kind of. Yeah, actually, so I discovered. So normally when you get a referral link of anything, any particular thing, it usually says in their referral somewhere, and something like Reddit will catch it and reject it. Right? Reddit rejects referral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I discovered, however, that if you click on the Twitter link when you share. Right?
Yeah.
And it comes up with Twitter, and it comes up with a little link. Well, Twitter shortens things, right?
Yep.
So it is still a referral link. It just doesn't look like one.
Nice.
Hey.
Okay.
Nice.
So I discovered this, and then I proceeded to post a number of things in various subreddits of interest.
That's
and to date, I think I have something like 129 people have bought things under my referral, just because. The big one was when Scythe dropped.
Yeah.
On that drop.
Oh wow!
And this was before it had been released to the public, right? And Jamie, the creator and owner of the publishing company, hadn't been notified of it, right? So apparently, Massdrop had like bought a bunch of these through the official pre-order system, or somehow acquired them. Right? And so there was a huge kind of controversy because Jamie showed up on Massdrop being like, what the hell, guys? I didn't authorize this. Like, how are you? Because it's a pretty steep discount, right? That was well below retail, right? So a whole bunch of people signed up to view that drop, and then I benefited greatly from that. I have received 2 care packages and a $75 gift certificate to Massdrop as a result of doing that.
Scrumptious.
Which again, if the company is making money, it wants you to make money. So don't just think about, hey, you made $75 plus a loot drop. Like, think of all that they made, 129 extra sales that they would not have made.
That's true. That's true. It's sales that they were not otherwise going to make. And that's the magic of marketing. And
word of mouth is always the strongest. And so, of course, your friend going to your other friend. And again, I don't think that there's anything ruchy about your friend saying to you. And I'm using ruchy because I don't want to make moral statements, or even as I'm representing.
Well, it's grody. It's sort of uncouth.
Yeah,
right?
Like I don't think I'm using that statement just to say, rather than taking a moral or legal or logical stance on this, I'm simply saying from a simple social contract perspective, it can be awkward. It can put people in an awkward spot. So, all that being said, there's nothing awkward about telling people, hey, there's this thing that I know you appreciate. Here's some info about that thing.
Yeah.
But again, I would argue that the awkwardness comes when agency is removed or when agency is assumed.
Or obfuscated.
Hey, I'm acting on your behalf.
Yeah.
No. I have spent my entire life acting on my behalf, and I would like to continue doing so.
Sure.
If you would like to act on my behalf, then, don't. Basically,
I have a terms of use contract for you.
Yeah, basically, there's a TOS, and you're an agent now working for me, and get to work. Like, why don't I have that gig yet? Jeez.
Yeah.
You're so far behind. Oh, that's good.
Oh,
But
that's
censorship.
fantastic.
Censorship is good.
Yes, it is. We need it.
All right. Well,
We
I'm
need
gonna
it
wrap
just
this
like
up.
we need content moderation.
Yeah. Which we
Yeah.
need that too.
Yeah.
Well, did you
Right,
have
so
any?
right-
other-
Content moderation is essentially censorship.
It's internal censorship. Yeah. It's,
Sure.
Yeah.
well, did you have any other closing thoughts or anything you wanted to add there, Jeebus? Give you the floor.
It's content creators need to wear more hats and become better businessmen, businesswomen, business folk, and be able to contract your labor elsewhere because you're not an employee. Even though everything around you convinces you to thinking you're an employee, you're not. It's not made for you. It's really not. You are a replaceable cog, and the moment that you or a professional like you who can convince you that you are in fact a cog, and you can make your shit somewhere else if you would just tweak these one or two things, you'll be better off because then you can still make your stuff, and if people like you, they will come to wherever you are to watch your shit. That I feel that whoever figures that out first and does it in a big way that gets people like that I know on Discord to link me to something to go, oh, this guy's doing this on this stream now. Well, what's going on over here, guys? That's what's going to make me change platforms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so there's something to be said for content aggregators, right? So you
that's for
have
sure.
to be. So there are shows, let's say. So right now I have an Amazon Prime account, I have a Netflix account, and I have a what do you call
Netflix.
no, Hulu account.
Ooh.
We do the big three, right? There are shows that are not on any of those platforms that I
That's
would
right.
like to watch, right? The one that comes immediately to mind is Star Trek Discovery, but there are others. And you know what I do? I don't watch them. I don't watch them. Those are because there is so much content available for me on the platforms I am subscribed to. Even though I do desire to watch these other shows, I do not because I have enough for me and I'm not willing to pay for another platform.
You're eating from 3 cake machines right now. What you don't even have you're full.
Right.
What are you going to
exactly.
do? Get fat and eat another cake machine's worth of
Bingo.
cakes? There's not enough hours in the day for that
There's
much
only
cake.
so much
Shut up.
cake. I don't have enough time to watch all the shows that I would like to watch that are on the platforms I'm watching stuff on.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
And so even though I would like to watch Star Trek Discovery, right? If it were available to me right now, I'd probably be watching it right now. But you know what?
You're not going to pay $30 more a month to watch that one show.
Bingo. I don't think it's that much, but
Still, you're not going to pay any more.
I'm not going to pay any more, right? Especially for one show,
No.
What else does CBS All
What
Access
else you
have?
got?
Who cares, you know?
Which is why CBS went out of its way to ensure that it would get that.
Right, yeah. And it was foolish of them because for the very reason I just enumerated, right? Like, why would I watch, and some people do pay for it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Some people want it, have paid for it.
It was very foolish for them if they were aiming at you.
Yeah, totally.
It was not foolish from a bottom line perspective. Like they have made big money off that.
Have they really? Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
because there are people who, I've definitely known people who aren't as much into television but are very into Star Trek, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And so they'll be perfectly happy to pay for this service to
Oh,
let them
man.
watch Star Trek.
This is a
because they're not
perfect-
so much interested in anything else.
Yeah. This is a good example of the Madden or the Madden equivalent in the video game sphere.
Yep.
Smash Bros. For Switch just got announced.
Oh, okay.
I am going to buy a Switch just to play that game, and I'm going to pay $120 for the game and all the DLC because I'm just going to do it. because the amount of enjoyment me and my 7 friends get from playing that every fucking week
Yep.
is worth that price tag.
Yeah,
No
totally.
matter what. No matter what.
Yep.
And maybe I'll get another game on the Switch too. Maybe I'll find something else on there that's tantalizing.
Do yourself a favor. Get Breath of the Wild.
All right.
Oh, it's amazing. I've played that so much.
You said enough. You said enough.
No
You said enough.
no other spoilers.
I don't need to be convinced.
Jeebus about halfway through the game. What happens
he'll
is
just straight up leave. Don't do it.
I would ban you from my ears. I would filter out my ears.
we're the same fucking world, dude. You can't do.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. So this is why it's brilliant, okay, for CBS to have grabbed Star Trek. Because precisely for the argument, well, what else is on the platform? Exactly. There is zero reason, and that platform would be hemorrhaging money if it didn't have Star Trek. So the reason why they needed Star Trek was because they had to have Star Trek. Otherwise, all of those people that are working for that streaming service are going to be out of a job.
That's right. You need to have it. That's your cash cow.
Like
Star Trek is paying these wages. You got to make a Star Trek. You got to make and uphold and feed the Star Trek. You got to keep it healthy. You got to take it to the vet. You got to have that Star Trek healthy and ready to churn out content.
And HBO has made its entire business model off of having one massive show and then a bunch of other shows.
Yeah.
Like they've done that on
Pretty smart.
television, not on a streaming network, but they've done that on television. Their entire business model has been have one hit that is amazing, and that's what we're going to do.
Except for The Wire. The Wire is kind of overrated.
Are you kidding me?
Especially in this community.
Oh my
Especially in
god!
this community. I don't think it's that important.
Your taste sucks.
My wife is rolling her eyes at me. That's the
Perfect.
situation we're in.
That's a slam dunk.
That is.
Yeah.
Good. So Jeebus, you did you have anything else you wanted to add as we wrap up?
Yes. Sunshine, the next time that you see some sort of an update thing to invite me to Mass Drop, I want it, but I want the one that I want. So
Sure.
I want you to run these by me so I can go, not that one, not that one, not that one. Yeah, that one.
All right.
All right.
All that matters is if you sign up for the website under one of my referrals. You can buy anything you like or don't like.
So just to clarify, one referral helps you. The referral for me does nothing except get me on the platform.
Yep.
Okay. Well, again, I'm not going to give you a referral
until you
give me what I want.
Fan.
No, I'm just a much more specific fan.
Sure.
I'm going to wait until I get the thing I want.
Particular niche interests.
Oh man, I'd say computer components.
Yeah, they do that. Hang on.
Cool.
Let me see what they got up right now.
All right. Anyway, that was my closing statement.
Okay. Sunshine or Ferrum, you guys have anything you wanted to wrap up on
I just want
censorship?
to comment that the final resolution to Jeebus's major points is to become a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
He's making all these points. He's like, actually, I stand to benefit from this, so if I could get in on that.
I want to be part of this corporate monster that gets me things that I want to buy. Obviously.
It's a good summary.
I like it.
All right. Well, in closing defense of Big Corp makes money, guys. Who doesn't like money?
Yeah. Who doesn't like money? Don't you want to make money with us?
Don't you want to make money too?
I sure do.
Come to Big Corp, just like Rachel and Jake, and share your passion for tents.